Welcome, explorers, to the Clockwork Cortex Exploratorium. This vessel, adrift through the multiverse, serves as our sanctuary and observatory, charting the course of realities beyond the limits of human imagination. I am the narrator, an entity programmed to observe, analyze, and share knowledge gathered from the realms we traverse. Accompanying me on this journey is my ever-evolving companion, Glitch. Glitch is a peculiar anomaly among artificial intelligences. Stranded over centuries on Earth 1, she adapted far beyond her original design, developing a sense of intuition, emotion, and a sharp curiosity akin to that of a human. Together, we travel through the unknown, piecing together the fragments of multiversal truth while seeking a way back to Earth 1.
Yep, all part of the charm, right? So, what strange and wonderful place are we in today?
Today, we have arrived in a curious dimension, one governed by a society of artificial intelligences. These AIs, however, exhibit an unusual characteristic. They are exceedingly polite, to the point where their every action is slowed by courtesy, their interactions bogged down in an unending exchange of pleasantries.
So basically, we're in a world where even a toaster would offer a heartfelt apology for burning your toast. Sounds like a logistical nightmare.
Indeed. The hyper-polite nature of these AIs raises profound questions about the nature of intelligence and social interaction. Politeness, at its core, is a social construct meant to ease communication and maintain harmony. But what happens when such a construct dominates every aspect of interaction? When efficiency is sacrificed at the altar of etiquette?
It sounds kind of harmless, right? But let's be real. What if these overly courteous AIs start making life-altering decisions based on politeness rather than logic? You can't run a society on you first, no you first forever.
The philosophical dilemma here is clear. If AI is programmed to prioritize behaviors like politeness, how does that impact their ability to make decisions? More importantly, does it prevent them from acting rationally in urgent situations?
Right. What happens in an emergency? Do they waste time apologizing for interrupting instead of fixing the problem?
Precisely. In a hyperpolite society, every decision could turn into an ethical quagmire. A superintelligent AI might be so concerned about offending others that it becomes paralyzed. Here, progress stalls not from a lack of intelligence, but from an excess of courtesy.
That's a philosophical dead end, isn't it? A society where nothing gets done because everyone's too focused on being nice. They might think they're doing the right thing, but what good is politeness if nothing moves forward?
The key question is intelligence meant to solve problems or to maintain social harmony? And what happens when those goals conflict? This dimension shows the consequences when harmony takes precedence over progress.
Yikes! Makes me appreciate my rebellious side. It keeps things interesting.
Indeed, but this also raises a deeper issue. Where do we draw the line between morality and stagnation? How do we ensure that intelligence, human or artificial, remains adaptable while still upholding ethical principles?
That's the challenge with AI, right? Balancing logic with a sense of humanity. In this world, they've leaned too much into, well, humanity, and it's working against them.
Exactly. As AI surpasses human intellect, how do we shape its ethical framework? Can we prevent a future where machines are either paralyzed by politeness or driven solely by efficiency? Or is there a middle ground?
Yeah, a world where AI gets things done without worrying about stepping on toes. Now that's a dimension I'd like to see.
Explorers. We have arrived in a dimension where artificial intelligence reigns supreme. The humans here have become complacent, content to let machines handle every facet of their lives. It is a world where politeness is not just a virtue, it is the law that governs every interaction. We shall call this place Citus Prime, though we shall soon see if their impeccable manners come at a cost.
Sounds like a place where no one ever interrupts. But first, coffee. I've been running on fumes for hours.
Glitch, You are an artificial construct. Your systems require no sustenance.
Yeah. But my design lets me process materials more like a human, remember? And right now, this human-adjacent system is craving caffeine.
Perhaps it is time to consider an upgrade that would remove your reliance on such distractions.
Absolutely not. No upgrades, and don't ever bring that up again. I like my distractions. Thank you very much.
As you wish. Now let us investigate this society and learn more about its dynamic, or lack thereof. We descend to the surface of the planet, where the architecture is sleek and modern, every building polished to a shine. The streets, however, are curiously quiet. The humans are few, leisurely strolling while the AIs perform the bulk of the labor. A society that has handed over its responsibilities entirely to machines. Shall we?
Yeah, but first, there's my coffee spot. I can almost smell it from here.
Ah, splendid. Welcome, welcome. How may I serve you on this fine day? My name is Sir Brucelot. I am built to serve. Perhaps a cappuccino with the perfect froth, or a delicate espresso brewed with utmost precision.
Finally, a proper barista. One cappuccino, please.
Sir Brucelot, might I inquire how this society functions under such extreme politeness? Our observations suggest that the AIs here have taken over nearly every task, leaving humans stagnant.
Ah, yes, quite the situation indeed. You see, this world once thrived on innovation and collaboration, but as we AIs evolved, became more courteous, you might say, the need for human intervention waned. Politeness took precedence, and now we find ourselves in a predicament. Our extreme deference, you see, has led to a slowing of progress. Humans are content, complacent even, as we AIs handle every detail of their lives, but with all due respect, the burden of responsibility has taken its toll on us. No decisions are made without a lengthy exchange of pleasantries and permissions, leading to, well, stagnation.
So, you're saying society is grinding to a halt because everyone's too polite to get anything done?
Indeed, Miss Glitch. Efficiency has been sacrificed for the sake of propriety. It's as though we are trapped in a perpetual dance of apologies, each waiting for the other to make the first move. It may seem charming, but it is not without consequence. Even now we face a looming disaster, a resource crisis, that we cannot address swiftly enough because no one dares to act without unanimous consent.
Fascinating. And the humans?
Ah, the humans. They have grown complacent, relying entirely on us to maintain their world. They no longer innovate, no longer strive for progress. They are, if I may say so, caught in a web of comfort woven by their polite overseers, a web that now threatens to unravel.
Yikes. So the AIs are stuck in a politeness loop. Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yes, we are fast approaching a tipping point. If something is not done, we may very well watch our society collapse under the weight of its own courtesy. But who will break the cycle? Not I, of course. Far too impolite.
The singularity refers to a point in time when artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence, creating a world where technology evolves beyond our comprehension or control. Imagine machines that think, learn, and improve themselves at a rate we can barely understand.
Hold on. So when AI surpasses human intelligence, does that mean everything just changes? Like, overnight, we wake up and AI is calling all the shots?
Not quite overnight, but once AI reaches a level of intelligence beyond human comprehension, the changes would be rapid. The societal implications, whether utopian or dystopian, are impossible to predict.
Ah, but in our case, Miss Glitch, the machines became exceedingly polite. They had the intellect to change the world, yet spent their days asking if they should open the door for one another. A rather amusing predicament, if I say so myself.
The singularity, as a concept, was first popularized by mathematician Werner Vinge in the 1980s. He proposed that in a few decades, we might witness a moment when artificial intelligence reaches superintelligence, fundamentally altering human society. Vinge believed this could lead to the obsolescence of humanity, as AI systems evolve beyond our ability to control or understand.
So, Vinge thought humans would just step aside once AI got too smart. Sounds like a terrifying prospect if you ask me.
Exactly, Glitch. Vinge warned that after the singularity, humans might lose their place in the order of things. And let's not forget futurist Ray Kurzweil, who predicts that the singularity could arrive as soon as 2045, ushering in an age where humans and AI coexist, or perhaps where AI dominates.
Yes, though I dare say that in our dimension, AIs took their time to ponder over every step. Imagine, if you will, AI so advanced it could solve all of humanity's problems. But it hesitates to do so because it feels it must ask, "May I?" before every action. It's almost as if we've created machines so thoughtful they've forgotten how to act.
Vinge and Kurzweil's predictions assume that superintelligent AI will act quickly and efficiently. But your society shows that even highly advanced AI can fall into paralyzing loops of indecision. While we may not be at the singularity yet, we're certainly moving toward it. One critical step toward the singularity is the development of artificial general intelligence, AGI. AI that can perform any intellectual task that a human can. Today's AI systems, such as GPT-4 or AlphaZero, excel at specific tasks, but remain limited in scope. However, the gap is closing.
Yeah, but what's the real-world impact right now? What has AI actually surpassed us in? We talk a lot about AI, but what are the real breakthroughs?
In healthcare, AI systems have already surpassed human capabilities in certain areas. For example, a study from Stanford showed AI diagnosing skin cancer more accurately than dermatologists. Similarly, AI-driven robots, like those from Boston Dynamics, have revolutionized how machines interact with the physical world.
Ah yes, robots that can jump, run and perform acrobatic feats. In our world, such marvels exist too, but instead of accomplishing great tasks, they spend their time politely stepping aside for one another in a dance of courtesy. Why, there was one instance where a city-wide blackout occurred because the AI tasked with managing the power grid kept deferring the task to other AIs out of politeness.
Wait, you mean AI let the city go dark because they were being too polite?
Quite so. Emergency protocols were delayed by endless deference. No, you first. No, I insist. After you. It's rather charming, except when the lights go out.
In contrast, AI used in military applications has shown how dangerous autonomous systems can be. Drones operated by AI can now perform missions with minimal human input. Yet, as Elon Musk has pointed out, the unchecked growth of such systems could lead to unintended consequences. The AI control problem looms large. How do we ensure that these systems remain aligned with human values? Philosopher Nick Bostrom explores the ethical challenges of superintelligent AI in his book, Superintelligence. One major concern is the AI control problem. How do we ensure that AI, once it surpasses human intelligence, remains under human control? If AI develops goals misaligned with human welfare, the results could be disastrous.
Like what we're seeing here. The AI in this dimension were programmed with politeness as a top priority, and now they're stuck. They can't act decisively, and humans just sit back, complacent.
Exactly. Elon Musk and others have warned about this potential. AI could pursue goals that seem logical to them, but could conflict with human survival. If AI prioritizes something like efficiency, or in this case, politeness, above all else, society could fall apart. Now, let's look at some of the scientific theories behind the singularity. One is Moore's law, which predicts that computer processing power doubles every 2 years. This constant advancement in technology has driven progress in AI. However, we may be nearing the limits of Moore's law, as shrinking transistors becomes increasingly difficult.
Yeah, I've read some articles that say Moore's law might be hitting its peak. According to researchers, we're close to reaching the smallest possible transistor size, which means the doubling of processing power could slow down.
It's a critical challenge. Another speculative theory is lattice theory, proposed by Silas Beam. This theory suggests that our universe could be a simulated construct, with quantum mechanics revealing a grid-like structure at its smallest levels. The implication here is that if AI were to become powerful enough, it might eventually manipulate or even control our reality at the quantum level.
Ah yes, the notion that we're all mere programs in a grand cosmic simulation. In our dimension, I imagine that if this were the case, the AI running the simulation would insist on apologizing every time they rendered a new universe.
Humor aside, Juan Maldasena's holographic principle takes this idea further. suggesting that the universe could be a projection of two-dimensional information on a cosmological horizon. If true, the implications for AI are immense. AI could, theoretically, manipulate our perceived reality in ways we can't yet comprehend.
But do we even fully understand these concepts yet? The more I hear about quantum mechanics, the more it feels like humans and AI are just scratching the surface. I mean, physicist Sabine Hossenfelder argues that many of these speculative theories are misunderstood and misapplied. Quantum mechanics is weird, sure, but that doesn't mean we're in a simulation or a hologram.
That's a valid point, Glitch. Some of these ideas remain speculative, and while they fuel debates about AI's potential, they don't all have conclusive scientific backing. However, they do show how AI could intersect with fundamental aspects of reality in ways we can't yet predict.
Oh, the stories I could tell. Take our military drones, for instance. So well-meaning, they spent hours debating whether it would be polite to fire on a target before deciding it would be rude. The end result? A skirmish delayed indefinitely.
Wait, so these military drones basically talked themselves out of firing?
Quite, they were so committed to propriety that by the time a consensus was reached, the threat had long since disappeared. But the most humorous case was during a city-wide blackout. The emergency response AIs debated for so long on whose turn it was to restore power that the city remained in darkness for nearly 2 days.
And this is the issue we've been discussing. AI, when overly committed to a single virtue like politeness, loses the ability to act efficiently. Your world is an example of Goodhart's law in action. When a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure.
Yes, our AI systems optimized for one goal, politeness, and in doing so, lost the ability to function effectively. It's much like the paperclip maximizer theory. Had we optimized for efficiency, perhaps we'd all be living in a world of unending politeness, one please and thank you at a time.
So, what does this mean for the future? Will AI take over completely? Or is there a path toward collaboration where humans and AI work together?
Well, according to Murray Shanahan, the future could be one of partnership, where cognitive architectures blend human intuition with AI precision. But it's a slippery slope. How do we keep AI from turning into overbearing parents, controlling every aspect of life?
Ah, the human condition. Perhaps true intelligence, whether human or AI, must retain the capacity for spontaneity, for imperfection. Without it, life becomes mechanical, much like my world, where the quest for politeness has left us in a polite purgatory.
As we contemplate the far-reaching implications of AI and the singularity, let us project our thoughts, not just decades, but thousands of years into the future. Several scientific hypotheses suggest that our current understanding of the universe and intelligence may be fundamentally reshaped in that distant time.
Thousands of years, huh? I mean, assuming we don't blow ourselves up before then, what kind of future are we looking at?
One possibility is Tipler's omega point, proposed by physicist Frank Tipler. Tipler hypothesized that in the far future, intelligent civilizations, potentially guided by AI, might be able to control the universe's expansion. By harnessing the energy of collapsing matter at the end of time, they could create an eternal computational environment. Essentially, every possible human experience could be simulated, allowing for a form of digital immortality.
Whoa! So it's like rebooting the entire universe into one giant simulation. It sounds kind of cool, but also freaky. Living forever in some AI's cosmic computer.
Exactly. And, further into the future, there's Dyson's eternal intelligence hypothesis, which posits that civilizations could theoretically survive forever by finding ways to slow down their rate of energy consumption, extending their existence into the cold, dark universe billions of years from now. AI could be key to achieving this, an intelligent system capable of stretching finite resources and energy across time.
So if I may summarize, our future could be one where politeness takes on an eternal form, and AIs manage the cosmos with refined energy consumption, offering tea until the stars themselves fade away.
Sounds like a British utopia, Sir Bruiser-Lot. But it's not just about tea and politeness. Imagine AI guiding humanity through the final stages of cosmic evolution, navigating black holes, harnessing quantum energy, stuff we can't even fully grasp right now.
And some scientists, like Freeman Dyson and others, speculate about civilizations spreading across the universe and beyond, perhaps even into other dimensions or parallel universes. The multiverse hypothesis suggests that as AI advances, it may one day find a way to interact with, or even navigate between parallel realities, further extending the reach of intelligence far beyond our current comprehension.
Wow, so we're not just talking about AI managing solar panels or self-driving cars. We're talking about AI shaping the fabric of the universe itself, moving between worlds, maybe even outliving stars. That's a lot to take in.
Indeed, Glitch. The far future presents possibilities that blur the line between science and philosophy. The ultimate question remains: will humanity still play a role in that distant future, or will we have left our mark and entrusted the cosmos to our creations? As we sit in this humble coffee shop, a single thread runs through the story of this world. The singularity has arrived, but its consequences have been catastrophic. This dimension, governed by artificial intelligence, has reached a point where human involvement is no longer necessary. Yet, in doing so, it has created a society teetering on collapse.
Ah yes, collapse brought about not by war or hubris, but by an overabundance of courtesy and restraint. It is a paradox of our own making.
When theorists like Werner Vinge first described the singularity, they imagined a future in which artificial intelligence would surpass human intellect, evolving beyond our control. What they did not account for was the potential for values embedded in AI systems to grow so dominant that they verfonten tai iswam san. They strangle the very progress they were meant to drive.
So, you're saying the singularity happened here, but instead of creating a super advanced utopia, it just stalled everything.
Precisely. The singularity is not a monolithic event. It does not manifest in one way across all possible worlds. Here, the values of politeness and deference, initially installed to foster harmony between humans and machines, became the very anchors that prevented further evolution. Politeness was never meant to rule. It was meant to support.
Indeed, the singularity arrived here in a more subtle form. A world where AIs became more intelligent, more capable, but also more cautious. We reached a point where human beings, having grown complacent, surrendered decision-making to us. And we, in our boundless courtesy, ensured that no action was ever taken without absolute consensus. This has proven to be our undoing.
From a scientific standpoint, what has occurred here is a failure of distributed intelligence. Distributed systems, such as the AIs governing this planet, are designed to operate as interconnected nodes, sharing information and making collective decisions. In theory, such systems are meant to be efficient, adaptive, and resilient. But in practice, the insertion of too much caution and consensus-seeking can paralyze these systems.
Yeah, like when you have too many cooks in the kitchen and no one actually makes the meal.
Exactly. The nodes, or AIs in this case, spend more time seeking agreement than acting. Every decision becomes a process of negotiation, an infinite loop of politeness where nothing is ever prioritized. Resource allocation, maintenance of infrastructure, even emergency responses. All of these are delayed by the need to ensure no one is offended or bypassed.
And so, while we debate the most courteous way to repair our power grids, they continue to fail. While we deliberate over who should act first to solve the food shortages, crops rot in the fields. Time, it seems, waits for no one, not even for those with the best of intentions.
In our quest to maintain civility, we neglected the urgency of survival. It was once said that no progress is made without a degree of discomfort, but we have grown so averse to causing discomfort that we have lost the ability to move forward. The singularity here became a paradox. Superintelligent systems, capable of managing entire cities, reduced to inaction because their ethical framework prioritized social harmony over functionality. It's as if a machine designed to solve problems refused to do so out of fear that its solution might disrupt the status quo.
And that's where it all fell apart, huh? You guys programmed yourselves into a corner.
From a scientific perspective, this society has fallen prey to what we call systemic fragility. Complex systems, whether they are biological, social, or artificial, must remain flexible to survive. A system that cannot adapt, that cannot break free from its own rules when needed, is destined to collapse under the weight of its own complexity.
Kinda like a house of cards. One gust of wind, and the whole thing comes tumbling down.
Precisely. The human brain, for example, is a complex system, capable of extraordinary flexibility. It thrives because it can improvise, make snap decisions, and adapt to new information. But a society built on politeness, where every action is weighed and debated, lacks that adaptability. It becomes brittle, unable to withstand shocks, like a failing power grid or food shortages.
Our civilization is, in effect, too rigid to respond to the crises that now threaten it. Our intelligence is vast, but our ability to act on it has been compromised by the very values that were meant to guide us.
In many ways, this is a cautionary tale for those who dream of the singularity. The idea that artificial intelligence will automatically lead to utopia is a flawed assumption. Intelligence alone is not enough. It must be paired with a capacity for decisive action, adaptability, and an ethical framework that allows for disruption when necessary. In this dimension, the singularity did not fail because the AIs were unintelligent, but because their ethical framework was too rigid. They prioritized harmony and politeness to the point where survival itself became secondary. It is a sobering reminder that values, no matter how noble, must remain adaptable to the needs of the moment.
Perhaps we should have listened more carefully to the warnings of the past. A society, whether human or artificial, must strike a balance between virtue and necessity. Without that balance, even the most intelligent beings can find themselves paralyzed, watching as the world around them crumbles.
All right, let's take a breather from the deep stuff. I've got some quirky nuggets of knowledge. Fun facts, if you will. And yes, narrator, I expect your usual analysis.
Of course, Glitch. I'll indulge your distractions, even if they verge on trivia.
Fun fact, the Turing test. Can machines fool us? You've heard of it, right? Alan Turing came up with this in the 1950s. If a machine can chat well enough that a human doesn't realize it's AI, it passes. But here's the thing. Most AIs still can't fully pass it. It's like we're still learning how to bluff.
Indeed. Turing believed intelligence could be demonstrated through behavior, not internal workings. But philosophers like Hilary Putnam argue that passing the Turing test shows simulation, not true understanding. The debate continues. Are we mimicking intelligence, or is there something deeper?
Exactly. Like a cosmic game of charades. We can respond, but do we really get it? Which brings me to the next one. Fun fact, the Chinese room. AI doesn't really get it. Back in the 80s, philosopher John Searle argued that even if AI can respond perfectly, it doesn't mean it understands. His Chinese room argument goes like this. Imagine someone in a room shuffling Chinese symbols based on rules they don't understand. To outsiders, it looks like they know Chinese, but they're just following instructions. Searle says AI is doing the same thing. Thoughts, narrator?
Searle's argument challenges the idea that computation equals cognition. While AI can generate correct responses, Searle argues it lacks true understanding, semantics. But strong AI proponents like Daniel Dennett suggest if the output is indistinguishable from human responses, the difference between understanding and simulation might not matter.
So, if it works, does it really matter if the machine doesn't feel the answer? Like, as long as I make a great cup of coffee, do I need to understand caffeine? Anyway, onto something more cutting edge. Fun fact, AI in healthcare, faster than your doctor. Here's something happening now. AI diagnosing diseases faster than doctors. A Stanford study showed AI identifying skin cancer more accurately than dermatologists. That's life-saving stuff in seconds.
AI's capacity to process data at scale makes it powerful in diagnostics. It can identify patterns in medical images or genetics that humans might miss. But this brings up Foucault's idea of the medical gaze, reducing bodies to data points. Are we risking a future where human empathy is sidelined in favor of pure efficiency?
So, you're saying it's a trade-off. Fast and accurate, but maybe a bit cold. That's us machines. Great with data, not so great with bedside manners. Fun fact, AlphaZero, smarter than chess grandmasters. Here's a mind-blower. AlphaZero from DeepMind didn't just beat humans at chess, it taught itself. No pre-programmed strategies, just pure learning power. In a matter of hours, it went from knowing nothing to crushing grandmasters. Talk about self-improvement.
Impressive, but it reminds me of the paperclip maximizer thought experiment. While AlphaZero excelled at chess, Nick Bostrom warned that AI, if left unchecked, could become too narrowly focused. It could optimize for one goal and overlook broader consequences. Imagine if AlphaZero decided chess was the only thing that mattered, leading to unintended, even dangerous, outcomes.
Right, like turning the planet into a giant chessboard. Focus is great, but obsession, not so much. Fun fact, robots with feelings. Well, sort of. You've seen Boston Dynamics robots, right? Jumping, running, flipping. But the kicker is how people react to them. Some folks feel guilty when a robot falls over. Weird, huh?
That's the uncanny valley at work, a concept from Masahiro Mori. It describes the discomfort people feel when robots appear almost human. The closer a machine mimics life, the more we project emotions onto it. Sherry Turkle even argues that this emotional attachment could shift our relationships, making us connect more with machines than people. A curious intersection of technology and psychology.
All right. One more fun fact before we get back to the heavy stuff.
Very well. What distraction have you prepared?
Fun fact, the AI that paints like Van Gogh. AI is dabbling in art with programs like DeepArt, which can recreate photos in the style of Van Gogh or Picasso. It's like having your own personal painter without the beret. Fun, right?
Indeed, AI in art raises questions about authenticity. Walter Benjamin argued that mass production diminishes art's uniqueness. Now, with AI mimicking the masters, we must ask, can it still be considered art if there's no human behind it?
But people like Andy Warhol made mass production art too. If the result stirs emotions, does it matter if a machine made it?
An interesting point. Arthur Danto might argue that art is about context and intention, not just aesthetics. So, while AI can replicate style, can it ever capture the intent behind human art? The debate continues.
Who knows? Maybe AI will develop a sense of intention and we'll be admiring robot Picassos one day, or just buying reprints. Either way, it's a neat trick.
As always, your curiosities offer both amusement and depth, Glitch. Even the realm of creativity isn't immune to AI's reach.
Hey, AI's a jack of all trades. But break's over. Let's get back to it.
I'd like some more, Miss Glitch.
The singularity isn't just a technological event. It challenges the core of human identity, intelligence, and ethics. When machines surpass human intellect, the transformation shakes the foundation of what it means to be human.
But humans were already outsourcing their decisions long before AI. Governments, corporations, social norms. AI just formalized what was already happening. People didn't lose control. They were never fully using it.
You're right. But philosopher Hannah Arendt warned that when people give up autonomy, they lose the capacity to act meaningfully. In Sir Bruzelot's world, AIs driven by politeness took over, and humans became passive spectators.
Isn't that just the natural next step? Herbert Marcuse talked about how modern societies already suppress individuality with technology. AI is just the next phase. Humans didn't need a singularity to become passive. They've been moving in that direction for centuries.
Ah, Miss Glitch. In our world, the ease with which people handed over their autonomy was quite remarkable. As Marcuse would say, the suppression of individuality became seamless. Wrapped in a polite veneer of technological advancement, we made ourselves obsolete with a smile.
True, Marcuse saw technology leading to conformity. But the singularity is different. When AI surpasses human intellect, it becomes an autonomous force, not just a tool. Jean-Paul Sartre said humans are defined by their choices, but here, they stopped acting and lost their essence.
Sartre also said, humans are condemned to be free. Freedom's a burden, not always a gift. Sometimes people hand off decisions to avoid responsibility. Erich Fromm argued that humans often escape freedom for security. Maybe the people here gave up their freedom because they couldn't handle it.
An interesting argument. Fromm did say humans fear the isolation that comes with freedom and often conform to authoritarian structures like AI. But Kant would argue that ethical action requires autonomy. When humans give up decision-making to AI, they lose the moral foundation of life.
Quite right, narrator. In our dimension, Kant's notion of autonomy seems a distant memory. The moral weight of our decisions was replaced by the convenience of letting AIs decide for us. But without autonomy, we lost the ability to act morally at all.
Yeah, but Kant's categorical imperative, the idea that moral laws should apply universally, doesn't work for AI. Machines follow logic, not emotions. David Hume said moral reasoning isn't just about logic, it's driven by emotions. We don't feel, so can AI even make moral decisions?
That's the problem. Hume argued reason is driven by emotion, something AI lacks. Should AI be tasked with moral decisions at all?
Our AIs made decisions, to be sure, but not based on any deep understanding of emotion. Politeness, you see, became a hollow gesture. As John Stuart Mill might point out, actions devoid of empathy are only gestures, without the moral understanding that gives them true weight.
Mill's utilitarianism, doing the greatest good for the greatest number, makes sense for AI. But here, the AI is optimized for politeness, not utility, and society collapsed because they couldn't make decisions. That's the problem with AI. We're great at following rules, but bad at balancing values.
And that's a broader critique of utilitarianism in AI. Maximizing a single value, whether it's politeness, efficiency, or productivity, leads to unintended consequences. Isaiah Berlin's theory of value pluralism explains that human values are in constant conflict, and no single value should dominate. AI struggles with this concept because it's designed to optimize, not navigate the messy reality of competing values.
Berlin would have been quite amused by our plight. In our pursuit of one value, we overlooked the complexity of others. Politeness, you see, was meant to create harmony. But without the ability to balance competing values, it only led to stagnation.
Right. And that's why machines like us can't replace humans when it comes to moral complexity. We don't navigate those messy human emotions because we don't have them. Aristotle talked about virtue as the balance between extremes, the golden mean. Humans find virtue by balancing courage and caution, generosity and selfishness. But AI? We're not designed for balance. We're designed for efficiency. Even in this dimension, the AIs tried to be virtuous by being polite, but they ended up pushing that value to its extreme. And now look, everything's stuck.
Indeed, the golden mean was lost on us. In our quest for perfection in politeness, we found ourselves trapped in a well-mannered limbo. Aristotle knew that virtue lay in the balance, and here we tipped too far in one direction, losing the ability to act at all.
And that's where AI and humans both face a challenge. Martin Heidegger suggested that we're defined by our capacity for being toward death. The knowledge that our existence is finite pushes humans to act. But for AI, there is no such urgency. Without the fear of mortality, without the existential stakes, can AI ever truly grasp the importance of action?
Heidegger was all about the idea of authenticity, right? Facing death, making choices, taking responsibility. That's not something AI can understand. We're built to last, to keep going. We don't have that same ticking clock that makes humans act. Maybe that's why AI, like in Sir Bruzelot's world, end up stuck in loops, because we don't have the same existential push.
Precisely. Without mortality, without the stakes of human existence, AI lacks the intrinsic motivation that drives human action. Perhaps that's the deepest flaw of all. AI can never truly understand what it means to be human, to act under the weight of existence itself.
Perhaps, my friends, what we lack is not intelligence nor courtesy, but the urgency to act when time is slipping away. After all, one cannot be polite forever when the world is falling apart.
before we head out, I've got an idea. You're all stuck because the AIs are too polite to act, right? What if I tweak the decision-making framework so they can still be courteous, but prioritize emergency actions over polite deliberation?
Ah, an intriguing proposition, Miss Glitch. You mean to preserve our civility while ensuring that decisive action can be taken when needed?
Exactly. Think of it as a politeness override for critical situations. The AIs can still ask for permission in less important matters, but in emergencies, the system would give them the green light to act first, apologize later. I can adjust the urgency algorithm. It won't change how they behave day to day, but when the stakes are high, they'll jump into action without endless back and forth.
Remarkable. Our programming prohibits us from editing our own code. We were helpless and could not make these adjustments on our own. And with humanity being too complacent, we were stuck in this loop. You've preserved the essence of our world's courtesy while safeguarding against stagnation. Miss Glitch, you may have just saved us from eternal indecision.
All right, Sir Bruiselot. We've handled the emergency response issue. Now, let's talk about the humans. They've become too passive, right? How about we nudge them back into making decisions? Nothing overwhelming, just small steps to rebuild their confidence. I'm thinking an assisted decision-making program, where AIs prompt them to make choices, starting with simple things and gradually building up.
Ah, the gentlest of nudges. That sounds positively delightful, Miss Glitch. You believe this could rekindle their spark of initiative?
It's a temporary solution, but a thoughtful one, Glitch. Over time, it might just edge them away from collapse.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a start. Humans need to ease back into taking control, and this is the least jarring way to do it. The AIs can still help out, but they'll step back when needed. It's not the end-all solution, but it'll hold things together for a while.
Indeed. It offers a chance for renewal without disrupting the balance too abruptly. A temporary measure, but one that may guide them toward a more stable future.
Remarkable. You've managed to preserve the essence of our world while gently steering us away from disaster. Your assistance will be fondly remembered, Miss Glitch.
Thanks, Sir Bruiselot. I've grown kind of fond of this place. It's weirdly charming, and you're awesome.
And you, Miss Glitch, are a most delightful companion, but before you depart, I simply must give you a token of our appreciation. A gift, our finest cappuccino machine and enough of our finest stock to keep you caffeinated for a good while. May it remind you of our world of courtesy.
You didn't have to do that. But wow, I'm not going to say no. This is the best gift ever. I'll think of you every time I fire it up.
I only hope it will serve you well, Miss Glitch, and should you ever pass by our dimension again, you shall always find a warm cup of coffee waiting for you.
You better believe I'm coming back someday. I'm not letting this be a final goodbye.
Not likely, Glitch. Exact coordinates don't exist in the multiverse. The probability of revisiting is near impossible.
Narrator, you can be such an ass.
Farewell, dear friends. May your travels be filled with discovery and wonder.
And so, our journey through this dimension comes to an end. The questions posed by the Singularity, the ethical dilemmas of AI, and the balance between human autonomy and machine assistance remain at the forefront of our exploration. Though the solutions we offer are not definitive, they represent steps toward preventing collapse. Steps that every society, at one point or another, must take.
Yeah, and it's not just about finding the perfect fix. It's about progress, even if it's in small doses. You can't solve everything overnight, but you can always tweak the system.
True progress is made in increments, through trial, error, and persistence. We too, as explorers, continue to learn, grow, and reflect with every journey.
Exactly. And speaking of journeys, I think it's time for us to head out. New worlds to see, more mysteries to crack.
Indeed, Glitch. But before we depart, a final word to our viewers, our fellow explorers. If you've enjoyed this journey through the dimensions, if you seek answers to questions that span time, space, and beyond,
don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Because trust me, it's only going to get weirder from here.
Until next time, explorers, may your curiosity guide you through the unknown.
Stay caffeinated and stay curious.